Good morning. It's Uncle Lou here. Yep, that's right. It is me, Uncle Lou, live on LouTube for you. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it also. And two, this and that as well. Welcome to the Your Season is Over video, Week 9 edition. The only college football Sunday morning recap show that actually matters. No highlights here. We don't care who played good. We don't care which teams played good, players played good, amazing endings, blah, blah, blah. Nope. This is point and laugh. We highlight the losers around here. And my, what an amazing list of losers we have to choose from today. Great weekend of college football. Week 9 has wrapped up, heading into the last month of the regular season here. November. What's today? October 29th. Halloween coming up on Tuesday, the last day of October. It will be into the last month of the season. The stretch run, as it were. 5 teams left undefeated. Is that right? Let's see. Are the Uncle Lou's top 5? Michigan, undefeated. Ohio State, undefeated. Florida State, undefeated. Georgia, undefeated. And Washington, barely, but undefeated. 5 undefeated teams left. How many will remain undefeated after the last month of college football? We're going to find out. The playoff picture is starting to come into shape. But you know how we do. We're going to talk about we're going to point out the list of losers here. We're going to talk about them. I've got a list of teams that won and looked good, list of teams that won and looked bad. We're going to talk about the HEISMAN candidates. We're going to talk about the playoff poll. The first playoff ranking comes out Tuesday. We're going to try to guess what that might be. I'll give you my playoff picks as of today. What else? I want to talk about the Big 12's a mess. 5 one-loss teams in the Big 12. One conference loss. 5 teams in the Big 12 have one conference loss. I want to talk about that today. Playoff teams, ACC standings with North Carolina losing. It looks like Florida State and Louisville. We'll take a look at the ACC standings. Pat Narduzzi. Pitt players mad at Pat Narduzzi. Oh, my God. A tweet war between the coach and Pitt players. I've got some thoughts on that, believe it or not. We've got to fix the helmets like we do every Sunday. We'll fix the helmets today. What else do we have? Oh, the updated We're Back top 4. Every Sunday we update the top 4 We're Back teams in the country, which, you know, the top 4 We're Back teams don't change. Just the order changes. It's Tennessee, Miami, Notre Dame, and Texas. We'll rank them this week. We update the rankings every week. Some controversy yesterday. During one of the live streams, I thought about including a 5th contestant into the We're Back rankings, and man, people got mad. I mean, people got all kinds of mad. So I've decided not to include a 5th contestant in the We're Back rankings, but I might have something for you when we get to there. Anything else we're going to talk about? Good wins, bad wins, Heisman, We're Back list, Big 12, ACC, playoff teams, Pat Narduzzi, fix the helmets, and the list of losers. Let's go. Let's start off with the Shane Cox. That's what we ought to start calling him, Shane Beamer. Boy, another clown press conference after the game for Shane Beamer. This guy's giddy. He's like a 12-year-old schoolgirl, Shane Beamer. And I know I keep harping on the same things with Shane Beamer, but it's because he keeps doing it. Yes, I've got copious notes. Don't even worry. Of course I do. But the thing with Shane Beamer, I don't know what to call it other than a shtick. Maybe he's like this in real life. How do I put this? He seems like a special person that thinks everything is funny. You probably have known one of these people at some point in your life. I'm not putting those people down. I don't want it to come across that way. I'm just saying that's what Shane Beamer reminds me of. Everything is not funny. Every situation does not call for a humorous or giddy type of attitude. And just another embarrassing performance by South Carolina. I don't want to hear anything about, well, they always beat us. They just have our number. Texas A&M's as bad as they're ever going to be. Just like now you beat them last year, but this year they got you 30-17. You were never really in the game. Nicholas Harbor, finally got to see him a little bit, at least more, I guess, than we have seen. You had no answers for Aniyah Smith. He ate you alive. You're now you 2-5. You're 2-6. My God, 2-6. You had 49 yards total in the first half of the game, and you got absolutely humiliated. I mean, Jimbo Fisher and friggin' what's his name? Bobby Petrino. I don't know what we're going to do with South Carolina. Now, do I think, first of all this, Shane Beamer's not getting fired, okay? We're ragging on Shane Beamer this year. We're ragging on South Carolina this year. Why? They're having a bad year. They're having a bad year. Their expectations weren't sky high, but they're not even coming anywhere near those. Their expected win total was in the 5, 6, 7 range, and they're not getting anywhere near that. So it's a massive disappointment this year for South Carolina. That's why we're laughing at him so much. Now, he's not going to get fired. Why? Each of the last 2 years, he exceeded expectations. So in all reality, this is Shane Beamer's first bad year. Not that South Carolina as a team had a great season last year or the year before, but they exceeded the expectations in each of the last 2 years. And that's really the name of the game when it comes to keeping your job as a football coach in the world of college football. Unfortunately, the better you get, the higher the expectations become. So you start out at South Carolina with low expectations. Well, I hope we make a bowl game. Then you come out and win 8 games plus in each of your first 2 years. So what happens in the third year? Expectations get ramped up. Now they want you to win 8 plus or more instead of, supposed to win 6, and then you get lucky and win 8. No, and now you're sitting here 2-6. You still got to play the Taters coming up. Who else do you play? I guess you play Vandy. You'll beat them. You've already lost to Florida. You've already lost to Tennessee. You've already lost to Georgia. Do you have to play Kentucky still? Anyway, the point is you've got more losses coming, and you're 2-7. You're 2-6. You're 2-6. You'd have to win out to make a bowl game at 6-6. Yeah, you're a South Carolina fan. You've watched South Carolina play this year. Anything makes you think? Anything you've seen make you think they're winning out? No. So it's a bad year for South Carolina. Doesn't hurt my feelings. I hate South Carolina. I can't stand them. Shout out to Carolina Jackpot. He's a great guy, but Gamecocks can kiss my taint, suck my chode from the inside out, and blow it dry. That'd be just fine with me. It wouldn't matter. Fuck South Carolina. Your season is over. It's been over. Remember, hey, we had a lead on Georgia at halftime. Yeah. Yep. You sure did. If I could reach through this camera and pat you on your little head and tell you how proud I am of you, I sure would do it. Season is over. Speaking of season is over, boy, this thing that got tipped over again, this fucking wagon here. I guess you can laugh at me too on this one. You can laugh at me too on this one. A lot of people this week put Oklahoma on upset alert. A lot of people. I guess they're a lot smarter than I am. I did not see it coming. I didn't think there was any way possible Oklahoma was going to play bad enough to lose to Kansas 2 weeks in a row. Last week was so strange. Coming off of a bye week, so go back even a couple of weeks, the Texas-Oklahoma game, all right? Not very many people expected Oklahoma to win that game. They did. Then expectations went through the roof. They vaulted into the top 5 of a lot of rankings, top 6 or 7 in almost every ranking. Then they have a bye week, so kind of flying under the radar there because they didn't play the following week. Then after that, at home against Central Florida last week, and they won the game, but by the skin of their teeth. They had to dodge the 2-point conversion at the end against Central Florida, then an onside kick just to hang on to beat a bad Central Florida team that had lost 3 in a row heading into that game. Their head coach is Goose Malzoon. That's to tell you all you need to know. So then they escaped that. I'm thinking, okay, that's their wake-up call right there. That was their sleepwalk game. For whatever reason, coming out of a bye week, they just never got off the bus, escaped with that UCF win. No way they let that happen again, especially against Kansas. I know it's on the road, but I've got some stats here for you when it comes to playing Kansas at Kansas. Did I write this down? Pretty sure I did. First of all, Kansas had lost 18 in a row to Oklahoma. Well, not anymore. They had lost 19 in a row to the top 10. There's more. Don't worry. I can't read my writing. I'm getting old. Leave me be. All right. They had lost 18 in a row to Oklahoma. They had lost 19 in a row to the top 10. First ever fourth quarter comeback over a top 10 team. Just all of this shit. They had lost 26 straight at home to top 10 team. I'm just like, there's no way. There's no way. Well, Oklahoma proved me wrong. They came out and laid an absolute turd at midfield in something called Lawrence, Kansas, and got beat. And it didn't appear to be a fluke. Sometimes you watch these things happen and it looks fluky. Some kind of weird play or a combination of weird plays. Now, there was a weather delay in this game, but here's the thing. Kansas was winning before the weather delay. So you can't even say, well, for whatever reason, we fell asleep during the weather delay. No, you were asleep before the weather delay. Kansas was up 14-0 before I even knew what was going on in the first quarter of this game. They were up 14-7 during the weather delay. Came out from the weather delay. Oklahoma takes the lead. Kansas fights all the way back. Oklahoma scores late to take a lead. Gives Kansas the ball back. Kansas goes right down the field and scores and wins. It wasn't a fluke. Kansas matched you punch for punch, blow for blow, drive for drive in this game. And that's unacceptable. Unacceptable. I see all the Oklahoma fans all over Twitter. They want Jeff Lebby fired now. The offensive coordinator, 2 weeks ago, they wanted to build a statue of Jeff Lebby and a Heisman trophy for the quarterback that he's groomed there and Dylan Gabriel. Now all of a sudden they want to run him out of town. I noticed they don't want to say shit about that Brent Venables defense that gave up 30 some odd points to something called Kansas. 38 points to Kansas. Listen, you scored 33 points. I know you're an Oklahoma fan and you're used to winning games 50-45 and all this kind of shit. But let me explain something to you as a college football fan who's watched a lot of real, actual football over the years. Something you're not accustomed to seeing because you had Lincoln Riley and no defense, and apparently you still don't. If you score 33 points in a football game, you should win. 30 is the number. Your defense should hold everybody they play under 30, and you should score over 30. Well, you scored over 30, but your defense let you down. So I guess you can keep crying about the offensive coordinator. I don't know. I see defensive issues out the yin-yang on this team. I see defensive issues out the yin-yang on this Oklahoma team. You lost to Kansas. There's really nothing else that needs to be said. I can go through and tell you the rest of these stats that I wrote down from the game about Dylan Gabriel and the Kansas offense and all this kind of stuff, but what would be the point? All you need to know is you lost to friggin' Kansas. And we're going to talk about the Big 12 standings at the end of the game. You might just have played yourself out of the Big 12 title game, never mind the playoffs. Good luck on the road at Oklahoma State next week. That's all I can tell you. And you can type till your fingers fall off. We beat Oklahoma State this many years out of the last this many years. And I don't give a fuck. You beat Kansas 18 in a row till yesterday. Oklahoma State is red hot. Red hot. And guess what else? They fucking hate you. They've always hated you. But now they hate you more because you're leaving them behind. You're leaving little brother behind. Moving off to the big bad SEC, and you're not taking Oklahoma State with you. And they're mad about it. They're so mad about it, they're not going to play you anymore. So that means this is the last year they get to play you for a while. Nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, would make an Oklahoma State man happier than to beat Oklahoma in the last year that Oklahoma's in the Big 12. Not to mention that it could possibly knock Oklahoma out of the playoff picture. Well, it would knock you out of the playoff picture. It'd be your second loss. Probably going to knock you out of the Big 12 title picture. Nothing would make Oklahoma State man happier. Well, the only thing that would make Oklahoma State man happier, it was what would make anybody in Oklahoma any happier, is if they would let the white people off the reservation, but that's not going to happen. Oklahoma is a reservation for white people. I've said this before. Oklahoma is 90% reservation. If a state is 90% reservation, it's 10%. It's 10%. You're in the white man is in the reservation in Oklahoma. The Indians are in charge. I heard it's so bad out there that they got the white people running the casinos out there. Is that true? I don't know. But that would make them happier. But other than that, it's Oklahoma State beating Oklahoma. And there might be an over 50% chance of that happening. Here's the thing. It's not one bad game. It's not even two bad games spread out. This is two piss poor, pitiful, pathetic performances in back-to-back weeks by the Boomer Sooner. The wagon is tipped over. Everything's done fell out the back. That was bad. That was bad. The Trail of Tears ended in Oklahoma. Now I know why. Now I know why. You know where the Trail of Tears started? In Florida. That's right. That's right. Yeah, somebody paid attention in history class. Somebody paid attention in social studies, didn't they? Where's Florida go? I don't know. Or care. I kind of care. No, I don't. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Florida. Oh, yeah, the graham crackers. Oh, man. Florida, y'all okay? Y'all all right? Florida, man? You right there, buddy? All right, let's put you right back over there. Florida got absolutely annihilated yesterday by Brock Bowers. Let's see if we have some stats here. Yes, we do. Brock Bowers, 43. Florida, 20. Wow. Brock Bowers had 4 sacks on Graham Mertz in the first half. In the first half. Graham Mertz was running for his life the entire game. Brock Bowers, 4 sacks in the first half. Brock Bowers pressured Graham Mertz on 40% of his dropbacks. Oh, my God. What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? What is Billy Napier doing? I think I might have talked about this on one of my halftime videos or something yesterday. This game ended really in the second quarter when Billy Napier made a series of boneheaded fucking decisions that were set in motion 2 years ago when he was hired. Billy Napier is one of these idiot coaches that won't hire coordinators. Stupid, dumb. If I ran a university, if I was an athletic director or a school president, I would not allow a head coach to also be a coordinator. You can't be both. Sorry, Sunbelt Billy. You cannot walk and chew gum at the same time. You can't. Maybe there's some people out there that can do it. You ain't one of them. You're a moron, for one. But that 4th down call, now here's the deal. People can disagree, reasonable people even, can disagree on whether or not you should go for a 4th down in a certain situation or punt it away. Here's the deal. It's a 3-point game. You're only down 10-7. Second quarter. Florida's got the ball on their own 31-yard line. 31. This ain't Madden. You punt the ball in that situation. Now, even if somebody wants to talk me into the idea that no, we got to try to go for it here. Okay, let me see the play call. 4th and inches. 4th and inches. What are you going to call? Graham Mertz comes up under center. I like that. I don't like the shotgun shit on 4th and inches, so I'm liking what I see. Graham Mertz comes up under center. The running back is lined up behind him. It's going to be a quarterback sneak right up the gut. All you need is a couple of inches. The running back can push him forward. The line got to get a little bit of push, and you get a first. That's all you got to do, right? Makes perfect sense. What does Florida do? Trick fucking play. They snap it through Graham Mertz's legs. He never even touches the ball. Direct snap to ETN, the running back. Nowhere to go, and then it kind of looks like he was going to try to throw the ball. It was a complete fucking mess. He gets tackled for a 5, 6, 7-yard loss, whatever it is, and Georgia takes over. And of course, Georgia does what a good team does in that situation. They make a bad team pay for a stupid fucking coaching decision. They go right down and score. That makes it 17-7. You're falling behind. We kick off the Florida. Of course, they go 3 and out because they're not any good. We block the punt, safety. Now it's 19-7 or whatever it is. Or it was over. That whole series, that whole sequence in that second quarter. There was a 3 or 4 minute period in that second quarter. The game was over. Florida got out to a 7-0 lead. Georgia scored the next 36 points. Georgia scored the next 30. You gave up 20 points to Florida, woo. They were winning 7-0. In the fourth quarter, the game was 36-7. Now, the second touchdown they scored was legitimate, okay? The last touchdown they scored was against woozies, backups, people I've never heard of, less than a minute to go in the game. I don't give a shit. That got them to 20 points. Whoopity fucking do. I don't care. If you want to celebrate for scoring 20 on Georgia, you can. You lost the game 43-20. Not solely because of Billy Napier's dumbass decisions, but that had a lot to do with it, and that had a lot to do. Momentum is huge in college football. I think you all would agree with that. Once it gets started, it's hard to stop, and momentum tends to snowball. And Billy Napier has no offensive coordinator, made a terrible decision to go for it on fourth down, compounded the problem by making a bad play call on the fourth down play, And then you got no special teams coordinator. Guess who it is? Florida's got 111 million assistant coaches and staff and analyst people. They've been made a big deal about it. Nary one of them has the title of special teams coordinator. Blocked punt. Got to put that on Billy Napier as well. You hire all these people. You can't hire somebody to run the special teams. What are you doing? Blocked punt. So Billy Napier being a fucking moron is not the only reason you lost this game. You also lost this game because Brock Bowers is just way more talented than you. The Georgia Brock Bowers talent, whatever you want to put it on a 1 to 10, is just way more than the Florida Gators. The Florida just can't compete with the Georgia Brock Bowers. And, Brock Bowers had, how many, Georgia's, Brock Bowers scored, 5 touchdowns yesterday? Because we had the safety and a couple of field goals. So Brock Bowers scored 5 touchdowns. Bunch of catches. Brock Bowers completed 75% of his passes. Again yesterday, Brock Bowers threw no interceptions. Brock Bowers threw for over 250 yards again. I mentioned Brock Bowers had 4 sacks in the first half. Brock Bowers pressured Graham Mertz on 40% of his dropbacks. Brock Bowers dominated both lines of scrimmage in this game. Florida just never had a chance. The reality is they don't have the talent or the coaching. It's not one or the other. You're not close, okay? The Georgia Brock Bowers have now beat you 3 years in a row, all 3 years by 20 or more points. You're not close. You're not one player away. You're not one recruiting class away. You're not one DJ Lagway away. You're not. You're 3 or 4 years away of those type of recruiting classes before you ever even really deserve to step foot on the same field with somebody like the Georgia Brock Bowers, okay? It's just a fact. Brock Bowers lined up yesterday and he pushed your doo-doo in. There was nothing you could do about it. All you did was spread paper plates around so that shit wouldn't get on the field. That's all you did. Congratulations, Florida. Your coach doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Sunbelt Billy, the Cajun Willie Taggart. He's a goddamn disgrace. He never should have been hired. You need to ship him back to the group of 5. You're never getting where you want to go with him. It's not happening. We're the recruiting class. You got 1 top 5 recruiting class. What do you think that means? What do you think that means? You're 5-3. Okay, who you got left to play? LSU, that's a loss. Missouri, that's a loss. Florida State, that's a loss. And Arkansas, 50-50. 50-50. At best, you're going 6-6. You're 5-3 right now. You're not winning any more than 1 game. At best, you're going 6-6. Then you're going to lose to in whatever bowl game they put you in, and you're going to have your 2nd or 3rd straight losing season, whatever it is. 3rd straight losing season, I guess. Mullen had a losing season his last year. Sunbelt Billy had a losing season last year. That was 2 in a row. This year will be 3 in a row. Have you checked your schedule for next year, Florida, man? You're going to have a losing season next year. Florida's staring down the barrel of 4 losing seasons in a row. They're a mile away from being relevant. They're terrible. They don't matter in the world of college football. They don't. They're a laughing stock. The only reprieve Florida gets is some occasion where Miami happens to do something stupider in some given weekend, which they tried to do yesterday against Virginia. They tried, but they didn't. So now you're the fucking laughing stock of the state of Florida. Florida State's not going to lose until the playoffs. They're losing in the first round. Doesn't matter who they play, but they're probably getting to the playoffs. They'll lose in the first round. But Florida's just a joke and a laughing stock. It's a point and laugh special every week with Florida. Guess what else, though? Speaking of point and laugh, boy, these people ought to be absolutely ashamed of themselves. Some of these talking points about Clemson, I think I might have talked about this some yesterday too. Clemson's not a good team. In fact, they're a bad team. They're not a good team that's playing bad. They're not a good team that's catching bad breaks. They're not 1 or 2 plays away like they tried to make us think in the first couple of weeks of the season. They're a bad team. They're poorly coached. The talent level is not what it needs to be. They have one of the worst quarterbacks in the ACC. Cade Klubnik is an absolute disaster. Another 2 interceptions for him yesterday. Will Shipley gets hurt. I hope he's okay, by the way. So Clemson fans got to see what they've been begging to see all year long, which is Maffa at RB1. And all you did was go out and lose to a terrible NC State team. Just a horrific NC State team. And now you're sitting there at 4-4. Unbelievable. Worst year since 2011. You've lost back-to-back conference games for the first time since 2011. You've got a tough schedule left. Are you going to get bowl eligible? Don't you have to play like North Carolina, South Carolina, Notre Dame? But man, these are all teams that can beat you. And the narrative that's been floating around about Clemson's defense is just wrong. Clemson's defense is not good. Sorry. There's some good players on there. There's some future NFL players on there. But for whatever reason, that defensive unit is not any good. I don't know if they've given up on the team. I don't know if they're in it for themselves. I don't know if the coaching is bad. I don't know what it is. But the defense is not good. The front seven's not good. The secondary is not good. They don't play good as a team. They don't pursue the ball. The poor fundamentals. They miss tackles. You got wide receivers for every team they play running wide. It's not a good defense. So that whole thing about, well, the defense will keep us in all the games until this offense gets around. No, first of all, the offense ain't coming around because Caleb Klubnik's terrible. Garrett Riley might be a good offensive coordinator. No way to know because this is Dabo's offense we're looking at. Dabo brings in the most coveted offensive coordinator in the country, Garrett Riley, and then ties his hands behind his back. It should be unacceptable. I still think Dabo should be fired for what he said a couple of weeks ago about purposely losing games. Just think about what has transpired since Dabo looked you in your cross eyes and told you, I'm going to purposely lose games to thin out some of our bandwagon fans because I'm tired of the fans complaining about me. That's what he said. That might not be exactly what he said, but that's what he said. He said, I'm tired of fans complaining about me and criticizing me, so I might go out and lose a couple of games and see if they'll just jump off the bandwagon. Think about what's happened since then. You went and lost to a bad Miami team, and you went and lost to a bad NC State team. I took you at your word last week. I'll take you at your word again this week. I think you're throwing games, Dabo. I think you're throwing games. You have got this holier than thou attitude, this my way or the highway. You know, I know how to do things. It works. Nothing else works. I'm not interested in anything else. I don't care about the portal. NIL is no good. If you take a visit to Clemson and you want to commit here, you can't take any visits anywhere else, period, or we're yanking your scholarship offer. This type of shit is antiquated, dude. You've got to stop. Clemson is, look, this is not a bad year for Clemson, okay? Look at the trajectory. 2014 through 2020. Multiple playoff appearances, 2 national titles, won the ACC every single year. Look at since then. Nothing. Can't make the playoffs in 21. Can't make the playoffs in 22. 21, they did win the ACC. Hell, even in 21, they didn't win. Anyway, 3 losses a year each of the last 2 years, but they get to double-digit wins. That's already a downward trajectory. And now this year, you're sitting here at 4-4 with 4 games to go. No matter what you do, this is a step back from last year. Even if you win out, you're going to be 8-4. That would be a huge step back. And you're not winning out. Again, look at that schedule. Notre Dame, I think North Carolina, South Carolina. Who's the other one? Is it Georgia? I don't remember who the other one is. But like you're losing a couple more games because you're a bad team. You're a bad team with bad coaching and bad philosophy. Bad culture. The players don't respect the coaches. Caleb Klubnik's running plays the coach didn't call because he just feels like it. It's not good there. Will Shipley yelling at coaches on the sideline a couple of weeks ago. It's not looking good at Clemson. It's not. And I don't think this is a one-year problem. I think Clemson at this point has dug themselves into a 2 or 3 year hole at a minimum. Not that they're going to go 4-8 the next couple of years, but at this point, I'd be absolutely shocked if Clemson got anywhere near a 12-team playoff next year. And last year, I'd have thought that was a lock. I'd say, oh yeah, Clemson will be in that 12-team playoff every year for the foreseeable future. I don't think so now. There are some deep-rooted and fundamental and philosophical issues at Clemson that are causing these problems. And number one, I'm not convinced those problems could be fixed even if Dabo wanted to. But more importantly, I'm not convinced Dabo even wants to fix them. I think he's just so hard-headed. He still wants to prove he can do it his way. College football has changed, dumbass. Sorry, but it has. I'm sorry. But college football has changed. You lost 24-17 to NC State. You know, Shipley hurt, Klubnik no good, 2 interceptions, defense is a sham, not any good. The Taters are down bad. Boy, so are these people. Georgia done beat you 3 times now. How'd you let that happen? Turns out you're just not very good. Is that what it is? Kentucky lost yesterday to Tennessee. Shout out to Tennessee for getting a huge road win, which is rare for the Hilljacks. They have a hard time. Them in Florida, boy, they get any type of road win, you better throw a parade. And you better memorialize the occasion, too, because you don't know how long it's going to be before it happens again. But Tennessee did beat Kentucky yesterday. What was the score of this one? 33-27, a 6-point game, 1-possession game. Can we talk about Kentucky's pass game, though? Where did that come from? Boy, if I'm Tennessee today, I'm glad I got out of there with a win. Don't get me wrong. And Tennessee did some good things. I thought the running game, per normal, looked really good. And they held Ray Davis in check. They had Ray Davis was under 100 yards. In fact, he only ran for like 2.6 yards a carry, 2-point-something yards per carry, as opposed to Florida. Remember, Ray Davis ran for 9 yards a carry. So Tennessee did a good job defensively against the run, and I thought Tennessee ran the ball well. There's no point in going on about Joe Milton. He's not any good. He's not. I don't care if he has a decent game here or there. I don't care what kind of stat you want to cherry pick. Joe Milton's not any good. He's not going to be good. He's not about to get good. He's been in college 6-7 years. He's not just suddenly about to figure things out. He's not any good. So it's a good thing you got that really good running game, and it was clicking yesterday, and you looked good. Congratulations. Pat you on the head. Good job. I'm proud of you. Kentucky lit you the fuck up through the air. I think Kentucky had more passing yards yesterday than they had all season prior to that. Where in the world did this version of Devin Leary came from? This reminded me of watching Tennessee play South Carolina last year, or watching Tennessee play Florida last year. Spencer Rattler was horrible last year at South Carolina. He's been good this year. He was horrible last year. Anthony Richardson was horrible at Florida, except when they played Tennessee. They looked like Heisman winners because Tennessee's defense was terrible. Now, up till this point of the season, up until this point of the season, Tennessee's defense has looked better than it did last year, particularly against the run, but also in the secondary. Not yesterday. Devin Leary came out and looked like a friggin' All-American. He had 350-something yards. I mean, every time I looked up, Devin Leary was carving that Tennessee secondary up. And they protected him. And I know Kentucky's got a decent offensive line, but Tennessee, again, up till this point, has had one of the best pass rushers in the SEC, one of the best front fours in the SEC. And they got manhandled yesterday. That's bad news, Tennessee, for you for about 3 weeks down the road. Because there's a team you have on your schedule coming up that has an even better offensive line, that's even more physical, and who has a quarterback that will absolutely eat you alive, and it won't be a fluke like it was with Devin Leary. Carstoni and Beckworth might throw for 500 yards on that defense I saw yesterday. Okay? I'll be the first to admit Georgia's running game is not where I would like it to be, although it has looked really good the last couple of weeks, and we're getting some healthy guys back there. Kendall Milton is back healthy. Roderick Robinson didn't play yesterday, but he's this close to coming back. Dejon Edwards is as consistent as any running back in the country. Not as talented, not as good, but he's consistently what he is. He can give you 100 yards. So it's not that Georgia won't be able to run the ball, but my God, Carson Beckworth is going to sit in that pocket, make a ham sandwich, eat it, and then throw 35-yard darts against Tennessee for 3.5 hours in 3 weeks. And I can't wait for that. Georgia's going to beat the absolute soul and will to live out of the Hilljacks in Knoxville, and it's going to be glorious. It's going to be glorious. I, for one, can't wait. Tennessee can wait, though. They ain't looking forward to that. Boy, y'all are going to get humiliated. Boy, you think you're down bad now? Huh? Wait till you got to put up with this for another year because I fucking beat you again. Mad about it? Do something. You ain't gonna do nothing. Fuck Kentucky and fuck Tennessee. Utah, we don't have to talk about them anymore. It's officially over for them now. It's been basically over for them for a while because they've had no offense. But my God, they just kept finding ways to win these games, except against, was it Oregon State? I guess was their only loss up until yesterday. But man, Oregon came in there and just put one on you, Utah, man. 35-6, Oregon beats Utah. That's their second loss overall. So no playoffs for you. That's their second Pac-12 loss, so no Pac-12 title game for you. So we will have a new Pac-12 champion this year. Utah has won the Pac-12 the last 2 years. They're not getting back in. On one hand, You hate to see it. And I don't think anybody really sits around hating Utah. Obviously there are Pac-12 people that when their team plays Utah, you want them to beat the shit out of them and all that. I get it. But Utah's not one of those teams that just has like a really long hate parade following them around or whatever. But that offense without Cam Rising just never really got going this year. They had flashes. They played 2 or 3 different QBs. They moved players around to different positions. They had like a safety playing running back and a running back playing quarter. This is all kinds of shit. And it was enough to get by in most games because their defense was really good and they played really well at home. They got their annual win over Southern Cal. But yesterday, man, they just had no answers. Oregon showed up and really put one on them. And it could have been worse. It ended up being 35-6. It kind of felt like the Colorado game a little, the Oregon-Colorado game, where Oregon just got up to this massive first half lead, just dominated both sides of the ball in the first half, and then just kind of coasted the rest of the way. And I'm telling you, Oregon looks good. Oregon looks good. And I wonder, look, Oregon's better than Washington. It's just my opinion. They played, Washington won. Yeah, great. They're probably going to play again. I just think Oregon's better. But to the Oklahoma man, let me ask you something, Oklahoma man. Did you think I was done with you? I thought I was done with you too, to be honest. I wish I was done with you, but I have to address you again. I've been addressing you for 6 years now? 2017. That Rose Bowl was unbelievable, wasn't it? Boomer man? Yeah. Yeah, it was. Let me ask you something, Oklahoma man. Y'all beat Texas a few weeks ago. I came on here. I congratulated you for a huge win. I said winning is all that matters. It's a check mark in the W column. That's all that matters. But I think Texas is a better team, and I think if they played again, Texas would win. You guys had a full-blown meltdown. That don't make no sense. You're an idiot. You just hate Oklahoma. Blah, blah, blah. How's that? I don't understand. How can you watch Oklahoma beat Texas and then show up the next day and say you think Texas is better? Because I've been watching football a long time, and the better team doesn't always win. So let me ask you something. Wagoneer, Boomer man, let me ask you this. Who's a better football team? Oklahoma or Kansas? Who's a better football team? It's Oklahoma. Now do you get it? Now does it get through that fucking dry, rotted, fucking tumbleweed brain of yours? Do you understand now? Huh? Lincoln, man? If Oklahoma played Kansas next week, this coming Saturday, Oklahoma would be favored. I would pick Oklahoma to win. Oklahoma probably would win. I think Oklahoma's a better team. Do you get it now? Or are you going to sit here and tell me that Kansas is a better team than Oklahoma? Because you watched the game yesterday. How you going to come on here and say that Oklahoma's better? You think Kansas is better? Sooner man? Hey, Sooner man, you think Oklahoma better than, do you think Kansas is better than Oklahoma? Ooh. Now do you get it? God, y'all are some retards. Look at this. I haven't seen a collapse like this in a while. North Carolina, this is hard to believe. North Carolina was in the top 10 2 weeks ago. North Carolina was in the top 10 2 weeks ago. And they've done nothing but lose since then. And not only that, it's not like they hit a part of their schedule where they had a bunch of speed bumps to get over. It's not like they hit some grueling portion of their schedule where they had to play back-to-back top 15 teams or something. No. They lost to Virginia and Georgia fucking Tech. The Nerds beat you 46-42. Haynes King, again, y'all made him look like an All-American. Haynes King outplayed Drake May. What happened? North Carolina's defense looked so improved. This is where, Tennessee, man, you should hold your head high, okay? Because your defense came out and shit the bed yesterday and made a bad quarterback look good, Devin Leary. But your team was good enough, veteran enough, experienced enough, well-coached enough, whatever you want to call it, to overcome all that and get a win, albeit a close win, on the road. North Carolina? No. Defense let them down. Offense couldn't keep up. Not enough adjustments were made. The necessary coaching adjustments weren't made. The players never got it together. And North Carolina catches a humiliating, embarrassing loss to a bad Georgia Tech team. Unacceptable. Drake May for Heisman, out the window. Flush it. Commode City. Sorry, Drake. I still think you're going to be a good NFL player and a very high draft pick, but you ain't getting nowhere near the Heisman, son. Sorry, I don't even have you on my Heisman list anymore. You cannot lose in back-to-back weeks to Virginia and Georgia Tech. Those, if you added up both of those teams' wins, they wouldn't be bowl eligible. And you lost to them in back-to-back weeks as a top 10 team 2 weeks ago. You're going to be unranked in my ranking. If anybody's got you ranked, they should have their head checked. Yeah, this is unacceptable. I don't care basketball skew. I don't care what kind of skew, lacrosse skew or fake rape skew. I don't care. Whatever skew you are. Or that was Duke, wasn't it? That wasn't you. Look, Duke, North Carolina. I know Duke and North Carolina hate each other. And if you go to Duke, can't stand North Carolina. If you go to North Carolina, can't stand Duke. If you're a Duke fan, can't stand North Carolina. North Carolina fan, you can't stand Duke, right? And Duke people can probably name 100 differences. You know what the differences are between Duke people and North Carolina people? And then North Carolina, same thing. I'll tell you what the difference is between Duke people and North Carolina people, and they talk the other one down. Y'all probably can do that. Let me break you in on a little inside information here that the rest of us in the world of sports and the world of college football have known for a long, long time. To us, y'all are no fucking different. There's no difference between Duke and North Carolina. The rest of us, there's not. So North Carolina walking around with their head up high that they're not Duke or something. I can't fucking tell. To me, Duke and North Carolina are interchangeable. And right now, neither one of you can win a fucking football game. Boy, when's March Madness start? Oh, in April? Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Makes about as much sense as North Carolina being good at football, which they aren't. You lost to Georgia Tech. You went from a top 10 team to 2 L's in a row to Virginia and Georgia Tech. That makes little to no sense. Yeah, they lost. Whoopity fucking do. That's all they do is lose. This time they lost to UCLA. Is anybody surprised? No. UCLA ran the ball all over them. That's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about some specifics of the game. Shedeur Sanders. Boy, I don't care what you think about Shedeur. And look, I don't like the flashiness and the cockiness and the showing to watch off the people and riding around in Rolls Royces while your offensive linemen, are eating off the floor. But you cannot help but feel bad for this guy. He was sacked 7 times yesterday. 7. He's the most sacked quarterback in the country. He was sacked another 7 times yesterday. But listen to this. He was hit another 17 times on top of that. Of those 17 hits, he was knocked down 13 times. So knocked down 13 times, sacked 7. That's 20 times. 20 times he dropped back to pass yesterday. He had to pick himself up off the ground. 20. Another 4 times on top of that, he was hit, but managed to stay on his feet. It's a miracle. This guy is alive. Never mind still able to start at quarterback in college football. Now, some of what I'm saying is obvious. Colorado's offensive line is terrible. Shedeur Sanders is pretty good, but he runs for his life. Or maybe some of you don't think Shedeur's good. I don't know. I happen to think Shedeur Sanders is a pretty good college quarterback. Will it translate to the NFL or not? I don't know, and I don't care. I'm not an NFL fan. Ask Florida fans if they care whether or not Tim Tebow was a successful NFL quarterback. They don't. Ask me if I care Stetson Bennett will be a successful NFL quarterback. I don't. They were great in college. Shedeur Sanders is a great college quarterback, in my opinion. He spends over half his time running for his life. It's a miracle that guy's able to suit up and play every week. An absolute miracle. But I want to talk about something, a couple of things. Deion's press conference, he straight up blamed it on the offensive line. He said they're not any good and we need basically new players on the offensive line. Well, you might say that sounds obvious, okay? And this ties into the Pat Narduzzi thing too, because Pat Narduzzi and Deion Sanders in their post-game press conferences both basically threw players under the bus. There's a certain reaction to Pat Narduzzi and there's a certain reaction to Deion Sanders, and they're different. I don't understand why. Deion Sanders came out and was asked multiple times, what's wrong, this, that, blah, blah, blah. Offensive line. Deion Sanders named 3 players by name in his post-game press conference, and he's done this before. 3 players, he said, no, I take it back, 4. He named 4 players. Shedeur Sanders, Shiloh Sanders, Travis Hunter, and Mata, is that his name? The field goal kicker. He never talks about anybody else by name. They're the greatest. Never talks about anybody else. Basically said his offensive line is horrible and he needs a whole new offensive line. He needs players. He needs dogs on the offensive line. They got to go out. They got to get new players. Now, that's obvious to me. But but a couple of points I want to make. Pat Narduzzi basically said the same thing, but not about his offensive line in particular. He said they got beat down bad. We're going to talk about it in a minute. By Notre Dame yesterday, 58-7 or something like that. It was like the worst Pitt loss in like 60 years. Anyway, so they were asking the head coach, Pat Narduzzi, about it after the game, and he's like, look, we lost a lot of good players off of last year's team. We thought we had replaced them with pretty good players, but apparently we haven't. I didn't really see anything wrong with that. It's kind of obvious. Just like I don't see anything wrong with Deion Sanders saying our offensive line isn't very good. Like, it's just obvious. I mean, this isn't breaking news. Pitt's a terrible team. Colorado's offensive line is horrible. Now Pat Narduzzi catches a lot of heat. In fact, some of the Pitt players went to Twitter to complain about Pat Narduzzi complaining about them. I don't have a problem with what Pat Narduzzi said. This is not recreation football. This ain't Little League. These are grown men. In a lot of cases, grown men getting paid to play football. You're so mad you got to tweet about it? Because and the coach didn't name a single player. Pat Narduzzi didn't name anybody. He didn't even say a position group. He didn't even say the quarterbacks, the wide receivers, the linebackers. No, he just said we lost a lot of good players. I thought we had done a pretty good job replacing them, but obviously we haven't. Duh. You want to know the players he's talking about? The ones who tweeted? The ones who that hurt their feelings? Well, what's the saying? A hit dog always hollers. Pat Narduzzi comes out and says that. 20 minutes later, there's 3 or 4 players making tweets about it on Twitter. What are you doing? Get off Twitter. Go knock on his door. If you have a problem, go talk to him. Man, we can't baby and coddle these college football players. I mean, what the hell? Do they ever turn on the radio? Do they ever turn on YouTube? Do they ever look at Twitter? Do they ever go on social media? When these college players play bad, there are millions of people saying it. And like I said, the coach didn't even call anybody out by name for Pitt. Deion Sanders, on the other hand, when asked what he needs to do, he says, we need a new offensive line. This is not getting it done. We need new players in here on the offensive line. He's specifically throwing the offensive line under the bus. I don't have a problem with it. They are horrible. They're terrible. That Colorado offensive line is a joke. Now, some of us told you that in the offseason. But here's the thing. Deion's, well, we got to recruit. We got to go get the players on the offensive line. I said, oh, okay. Well, let me go check 24/7 recruiting. Let me see what Deion's doing to address this offensive line situation. And I know what some of you are about to say. He's going to get them through the portal. He got them through the portal last year. How's that working? Do you understand? You cannot go cherry pick 5 good offensive linemen from different parts of the country, put them on an offensive line, and have a good offensive line. Chemistry is what you need on an offensive line. That is developed over time. And Deion Sanders contradicted himself yesterday. Because when asked about one of the differences between his program and Chip Kelly's UCLA, he was like, well, Chip Kelly's been there for a number of years, and he's got players that have been in that program and been in that system for years, and they understand it, and they know what they're doing, and blah, 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 blah. Yes, Deion. Yes. Yes. Now you're getting it, Deion. Okay? The mercenary approach is not going to work in college football in terms of filling out your entire roster. It's not. You can go out and get help to plug holes. If you're not building your team through recruiting, you don't have a team. You don't have a team. You got a bunch of individual players, and that's what you got, Deion. So I said, well, let me go look at this recruiting class. Deion says he needs a new offensive line, and he says the key is continuity, years in the system, growing, learning under the system, right? Veteran players that have been in the system. I said, well, let me go check this Colorado recruiting class. Deion must be loading up on offensive linemen. Well, first of all, you already know they're like 70th in recruiting. I mean, it's pitiful. They've got 6 commits. Well, I don't know what they're doing. Guess how many of them are offensive linemen? 1. One. Deion's not serious, people. Deion's not a head coach. Okay? He's not. I don't really know what he is, but he's not a head coach. As far as who's running that team from a football perspective, it's Sean Lewis, the offensive coordinator. It's the defensive coordinators. It's the support staff. Deion Sanders is not a football coach. He's not. I'm not sure what he is. He does everything he can. Again, go back and watch his press conferences. Everything is Shedeur Sanders, Shiloh Sanders, Travis Hunter. Everything. Everything. Shiloh Sanders played at a Power 5 program when his daddy wasn't a coach. How'd he do there? Anybody tell me? He was at South Carolina. Anybody want to tell me how Shiloh Sanders did at South Carolina? Now he's at Colorado, and Deion says he's one of the best safeties in the country. He got ejected for targeting yesterday. It was a clear targeting. He lowered his head. First of all, he led with the crown of his helmet. When you do that, it doesn't matter where on the other player you hit him. You cannot lead with the crown of your helmet anywhere. It's targeting. But he also hit the player in the face. Clear targeting. Keeps him out of the game. Deion didn't understand it. Oh, we lost our best player. We lost our dog. We lost our leader. We lost our quarterback on our defense. We lost the best player. On and on and on and on and on and on and on about Shiloh Sanders. On and on and on about Shedeur Sanders then. How good he is. He's the best quarterback in America. And I'm not just saying that because I'm his dad. He's the best college quarterback in the country. You know, but the offensive line is terrible. We got to get a new offensive line in here. Why aren't you recruiting any, dummy? Why you've got one offensive line commitment. And here's the thing. To the Deion fans that are typing right now, I'm not talking to Colorado fans. I'm talking to the Deion Dingleberries, the stands that have come around, the fly-by-night, drive-by casual crusaders that think they know college football. They don't. They're just, they're Deion Sanders stands. And they're like, well, the recruiting day ain't even come yet. Signing, you're still trying to recruit. You don't understand the first thing about the world of college football and how it works, okay? You don't. Deion Sanders is currently sitting somewhere between 60th and 70th in recruiting. He's not getting any higher than 40th or 50th. I don't care what happens between now and signing day, which is less than 60 days away. Oh, by the way, it's about 5 weeks away, 6 weeks away. Signing day, 6 weeks. Second week of December. Will Deion get some huge flip on signing day? Probably. He'll get a Cormani McLean, a Travis Hunter. You know what he's not getting? 8 or 9 4- and 5-star offensive linemen. Not getting that. Not getting that. Does anybody think Deion is sticking around at Colorado once Shedeur Sanders has gone off to the NFL? Does anybody think Deion Sanders is going to allow Shedeur Sanders to go off to the NFL after this season? I don't. He's Shedeur Sanders' handler. He bragged yesterday in the press conference that he is the only coach Shedeur Sanders has ever had. Think about that. He is the only coach Shedeur Sanders has ever had. What does that mean? That means that 15 years ago, Deion Sanders was coaching Pee Wee football. 10 years ago, Deion Sanders was coaching middle school football and travel football for middle schoolers. 6 years ago, Deion Sanders was coaching high school football and travel high school football. 3 and 4 years ago, he was coaching an HBCU. Why was he coaching all those things? He moved along with Shedeur. That's all he did. He trailed Shedeur Sanders. As Shedeur Sanders aged, Deion went up. He got to Jackson State. Now he's at Colorado. Guess who's there? Shedeur. Deion Sanders is a college coach for one reason and one reason only, and that is to pad Shedeur Sanders' stats and to get him into the NFL. That's it. That's my opinion. You can like it or not. Don't really care. I've been not caring about whether or not y'all like my opinions for a while, but there you go. That's this week's Colorado. Rant. Who won and looked good yesterday? Auburn. Let's give Auburn some credit. They finally got an SEC win, right? They finally got an SEC win. They beat Mississippi State. Hugh Freeze's first SEC win at Auburn. And how did he celebrate? Well, him and the team went to Toomer's Corner and threw toilet paper in a tree. What fuck? You seen this video? There's Hugh Freeze and everybody on the team out at Toomer's Corner throwing toilet paper into a tree. Congratulations, Auburn. Boy, y'all are civilized as fuck. Tennessee, I'm putting Tennessee in the good win category. Now, 6 points over a bad Kentucky team. You let Devin Leary light you up like a Christmas tree. None of that is good. None of that is good. But Tennessee has struggled on the road, and they got a win on the road. I think this is their first road win since beating Vandy on the road last season. So I did put it in the good win category, even though I trolled you a little bit earlier. Texas, I didn't know where to put this one. They won 35-6. I put it in the good win category. Quinn Ewers was out. Malik Murphy played. Boy, y'all better get Quinn Ewers back quick, fast, and in a hurry. Malik Murphy didn't look very good. God. Threw a bad interception early in the game. You know what he looks like to me? Sit down, Texas man. He looks like Jalen Mildew. I'm sorry. He throws a beautiful deep ball, and he can run around a little. He doesn't look like an actual quarterback, though. Now, it was his first start. I'm not going to pile on him too much, but the problem is next week's game. Oklahoma plays at Oklahoma State. Texas hosts Kansas State. You should have seen what Kansas State did to somebody yesterday. Kansas State beat somebody by 50 points yesterday. Kansas State and Oklahoma State, right now, the two hottest teams in the Big 12. Period. Fact. They are hotter right now than Texas and Oklahoma. Texas and Oklahoma haven't looked good the last 2 weeks. Meanwhile, Oklahoma State and Kansas State are blowing people out. This is going to be a very interesting week in the Big 12. We'll talk about it in a second. But I did put Texas in the good win category, 35-6 over a bad BYU team. Texas had to play a backup quarterback. Another one I didn't know where to go with. Ohio State, 24-10 over Wisconsin. You know, for all the dumb shit people talked about Brock Bowers and how Georgia's nothing without Brock Bowers, and if they didn't have Brock Bowers, they'd be winless, and now that they lost Brock Bowers, they're not going to win another game. First of all, that entire concept is ridiculous, that any team would find themselves that bad off from losing any one player is kind of asinine to me. But what's funny to me is that if there is a high-level, elite, top 10 undefeated team in this country who actually does appear to be overly reliant on one player, it's not Georgia. I don't even really know where. I think what happened is, I think Georgia was losing to Auburn. Everybody tuned in the second half because everybody's been sitting around for 2 years waiting on Georgia to lose a game. They can't wait. They just, all Georgia does is win. People are sick of it. They want Georgia to lose a game. So they get an alert on their phone. Oh my God, Georgia's losing to Auburn in the second half. Let me turn there and see if this is the week where finally Georgia loses a game. And what'd you see when you turned that game on? You saw Brock Bowers have an amazing fourth quarter. And he did, had an amazing fourth quarter. You haven't watched 5 minutes of Georgia football outside of that. We know it. I know it. You know it. Your neighbor knows it. And the Argentinian people know it. He had 4 touchdown catches or something like that. 4? I think it's 4. Brock Bowers had 4 touchdown catches when he got hurt. Brock Bowers was never all of Georgia's offense. All Georgia has. Half. He's not even half. I like I said, I don't know where that talking point even came from. Is he a great player? Yes. Is he probably the best offensive player on Georgia's team? Yeah, probably. But Georgia's not dumb. Yes, the fourth quarter of the Auburn game was the Brock Bowers show. But that was it. Half his touchdowns came in that quarter. He only had 4 touchdowns for the year. The idea that we've just been all season long just throwing the ball to Brock Bowers over and over is just ridiculous. Like, that's just not the case. And I think maybe people understand that now. And that's not the case for Ohio State and Marvin Harrison either. But Ohio State and Marvin Harrison are way closer to being a team that's overly dependent on one player than Georgia and Brock Bowers is. Didn't you find that out last year when Georgia and Ohio State played? And Marvin Harrison couldn't finish the game? Didn't you figure that out then? You've watched Georgia lose its best pass-catching option now for 3 years in a row. George Pickens 2 years ago, Georgia goes on to win the national title. A.D. Mitchell last year missed 9 of Georgia's 15 games. Georgia was undefeated, won a national title. Brock Bowers this week. We go out and have our best offensive performance of the season against Florida. Georgia does not put all its eggs in one basket. Most teams don't. Most teams don't. But if y'all want to keep up this talking point about how all some team is this one guy, it's Ohio State and Marvin Harrison. I don't think that's true. To be clear with the Ohio State man. But Ohio State is way more reliant on Marvin Harrison, for example, than Georgia ever was on Brock Bowers. That's just a fact. That's just a fact. Now, do I think that Ohio State would lose to Wisconsin if they didn't have Marvin Harrison? No. They would have thrown those passes to somebody else. I don't understand how people don't see that. That being said, I am concerned about Ohio State's offense, even with Marvin Harrison. They just look out of sync, out of whack. Now, their defense is elite, top 5 in the country. No question. Their defense is the real deal, and it's going to keep them in almost every single game they play. It is just really strange to me to watch Ohio State play, and offensively, they just look like they're stuck in the mud, stuck in second gear, and they just can't. Everything looks hard. They got Travion Henderson back, which is good news for Ohio State, and he looked good yesterday. Marvin Harrison, of course, did Marvin Harrison things, and Ohio State gets the win 24-10. I feel the necessity to point out that they didn't cover the spread because people have been telling me that for weeks. Georgia did cover the spread yesterday, by the way, doubled the damn thing. But Ohio State did not cover the spread. But they won 24-10 against a bad Wisconsin team on the road. Ohio State remains undefeated, and they've got a laundry list of pretty good wins. They beat Notre Dame. They beat Penn State. A win on the road at Wisconsin. Those are 3 pretty good wins. They might be number 1 in the playoff poll. So brace yourself for that on Tuesday, too. Ohio State might be the number 1 team in the country in the inaugural playoff ranking. And if they are, it would make sense to me. It's one of the reasons I haven't had Georgia up at number 1 in a while, because other teams had better wins or looked better or whatever the case. So anyway, we'll talk about that in a second. But I am concerned about what is going to happen. Look, Ohio State, Ohio State man, me and you've gone round and round for a while now. Let me talk to you. Man to lady right now, okay? Take it from somebody who has watched a team with a high-level defense for years. Me, okay? I've watched Georgia with a high-level defense for years. You know what else I've seen? I've seen a lot of Georgia teams in the last 10 years with high-level elite defenses like Ohio State has now, who offensively could not pull their own weight when and if the time ever came that Georgia defense let them down. And if you want to know what kept Georgia out of the playoffs in 2018, 2019, 2020, it was not their defense. They had a top 5 defense all those years. It was their offense. There was 1 or 2 games each of those years where Georgia's defense gave in, gave up, broke, whatever, however you want to put it. The other team's offense, Joe Burrow in 2019 is a great example. They were going to score points on whoever they played. And guess what Georgia's problem was? Offensively, they could not keep up when that one game came around where the defense gave up points. And if I'm an Ohio State man, I think that's a legitimate concern. No matter how good your defense is, trust me, no matter how good your defense is, there is going to be a game at some point, whether it's a surprise game during the season, whether it's the Michigan game at the end of the regular season, whether it's a Big Ten title game, a bowl game, a playoff game, or a national championship, there is going to be a game where somebody's offense puts points up on the board against that defense. And if your offense ain't ready to go, it's going to cost you. Now, I'm not saying that is going to happen. I'm saying that is my concern right now if I'm an Ohio State fan, because let's be real, college football fans. We are looking at an Ohio State offense. We've never seen an Ohio State offense this bad. And I don't even know if bad's the right word. Again, we're comparing this Ohio State offense to previous versions of Ohio State, right? So I'm not saying that Ohio State's offense is bad. It's not bad, but it's nowhere near what we're accustomed to seeing them have. So that would be my concern if I'm the Ohio State man. Who else looked good yesterday? Florida State, 41-16 over Wake Forest. They've probably got an argument to be ranked number 1 in the playoff ranking that comes out on Tuesday as well. They remain undefeated. Oregon, still just 1 loss, 35-6 over Utah. Good win for them. Really good. They're the best 1-loss team, period. Ole Miss won again, 38-7 over Vandy. They play Georgia in a couple of weeks in Athens. Georgia plays Missouri this coming week in Athens. Louisville beat Duke 23-0. Wow. And Riley Leonard played So that's it for Duke. It's over for them. Louisville wins again. It looks like Louisville versus Florida State coming up in the ACC title game. Louisville just has one loss. Georgia Tech, 46-42. Good win for the Nerds. Notre Dame, 58-7 over Pitt. Talked about that. Air Force remains undefeated, 30-13 against Colorado State. This game was at Colorado State. Air Force won. It was snowing, a blizzard in this game. And Colorado State was assessed a 15-yard penalty because their fans wouldn't stop throwing snowballs onto the field. It was one of the funniest penalties I've ever seen called. But anyway, yeah, facts. Bad wins yesterday. I wrote Ohio State down in the bad win category too. I think it was a good win though, 24-10 at Wisconsin. I'm gonna cross that out. They're a one-man team though. All you have is Marvin Harrison. Washington 42-33 over Stanford. What is going on with Washington? Washington, Texas, and Oklahoma looked like really, really good 3 weeks ago. Now, between the three of them, I can't find one good team. I don't know what's going on. Washington got the win, but this is 2 weeks in a row Washington has scraped by against really, really bad teams. I don't know what's going on there, but they didn't look good at all. Southern Cal won 50-49. What do y'all think about Cal going for two there? If you don't know what I'm talking about, Cal scored a touchdown with, 30 seconds to go, something like that. They scored a touchdown that made the score 50-49. An extra point would have tied it up at 50, and then you're headed to overtime. Cal said, fuck it, we're going to go for two. On one hand, I don't blame them. Southern Cal's defense is horrendous. You say, let's just go ahead and end it now. Anyway, they didn't get it, so Cal comes up short, 50-49. The game was delayed because of a protest. A bunch of students ended up getting arrested. Cal Berkeley with their protests. I think it's a major. I think protesting. I think you can major in protesting there. Now, when I first heard about this, I was like, oh, well, it's got to be some big political narrative or political cause, or maybe something to do with the Israeli-Palestine war or something. Who knows? You know how those UC those Cal people are. No, you know what it was? Some professor at Cal was fired for stalking, apparently, and they're mad about it. So they were protesting that a professor was fired for stalking. Whatever. I don't know the whole story, so I'm not going to get into it. But so it wasn't anything. It wasn't anything earth-changing or whatever. They weren't protesting the climate change, nothing, whatever you want to make up that you think's important, right? No, they're protesting a teacher getting fired. Okay, whatever. Penn State 33-24 over Indiana. I don't know what Penn State I don't want to get mad, but Penn State makes me mad. Let me move on. I don't feel like yelling. Here's my Heisman list in no particular order. If I was going to invite 5 people to the Uncle Lou Heisman ceremony right now, these would be the 5 people: Michael Penix, Jaden Daniels, Marvin Harrison, Carson Beck, and Jordan Travis. Those would be the 5 people I'd invite to the Heisman right now. What else we got? Big 12, 5 one-loss teams: Texas and Oklahoma, Kansas State and Oklahoma State, and Iowa State. Now, Texas plays 2 of those teams. Texas plays Kansas State this week, and they got to play Iowa State still. Oklahoma has already played Texas. They play Oklahoma State this week. They don't play Iowa State the rest of the way. This is going to be extremely interesting down the stretch in the Big 12, because 2 weeks ago, we were all pretty sure we were headed for a Texas OU rematch in the Big 12 title game, right? Doesn't look that way now to me. I'm just going to be honest. Texas or Oklahoma, one of the two, I think is losing this week. And they could both lose. Texas is at home, but they're going to have a backup quarterback against a red-hot Kansas State team who only has one loss. Kansas State's got everything to play for. Texas could lose that game. It's at home. That's an advantage, but they're with a backup quarterback. Oklahoma has to go on the road and play Oklahoma State, another red-hot team in the Big 12 that has flipped a switch some point in the last month, and they look like a totally different team. Those are going to be 2 great games next week. 2 huge games with playoff implications. And then you got Iowa State just kind of waiting in the wings. No one talks about us. We're no good. Don't worry, blah, blah, blah. But there they are, sitting with just the 1 conference loss. It's going to be a wild ride in the last month of this season in the Big 12. Pat Narduzzi talked about that. Yep. ACC standings. Clemson's in 10th in the ACC. 8th, 9th, or 10th, something like that. Looks like Louisville and Florida State to me in the ACC. That's what it looks like. North Carolina's played themselves out of it by losing to 2 middle school teams. Playoff teams. The rankings come out Tuesday. Who's going to be number one according to the playoff committee? I think it's going to be Ohio State. I think Ohio State is going to be 1. I think Florida State is going to be 2. I think Georgia's going to be 3. I think Michigan's going to be 4. And I think Washington's going to be 5. That's my prediction for the playoff committee's ranking. That's not my ranking. You want me to give you my playoff prediction, who I think is going to end up in the playoffs at the end of the year? I think it's going to be Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, and Texas. That's what I think. I picked Georgia, Texas, and Michigan in the preseason. 3 of my 4 teams are still alive. Southern Cal was the 4th team. They're out. But 3 of the 4 teams I picked in the preseason are still alive for the playoffs, so I'm not going to change. I'm going to leave them in until they eliminate themselves. So I'm going to go with Georgia, Texas, Michigan to make the playoffs, and Florida State sliding in to take Southern Cal's spot on my prediction. That's my prediction for who actually makes the playoffs. I gave you my prediction for what I think the playoff committee, their first ranking will look like, and then I gave you my playoff predictions that I think will happen at the end of the year. Where are we at now? All right, we're going to fix some helmets, and then we're going to do the We're Back top 4 list. All right, here we go with the helmets this week. Georgia had to play a game with 0 turnovers, including 0 fumbles. Whether they actually lost the fumble or not was irrelevant. They did that. Mistake-free football yesterday for the Dogs. Their helmet gets turned back right side right. No interceptions, no fumbles. Good job for the Dogs. Clemson, they had to play a game without any turnovers, didn't do it. So their helmet has to stay upside down. Colorado lost again, doesn't matter. Their helmet stays upside down until I change my mind. What other helmets do we have that are upside down? Arkansas, I forgot why we even turned. I think Arkansas has got to win an SEC game. They didn't do that yesterday. Auburn had to have a quarterback throw for 100 yards. They hadn't had a quarterback throw for 100 yards all year. Until yesterday. Peyton Thorne threw for 200-something yards, I believe, yesterday. I know it was over 100. And Auburn got their first SEC win of the season. They beat Mississippi State. So Auburn's helmet gets turned back the right way. So the only helmets left upside. Oh, Tennessee. Tennessee's helmet gets I didn't do that on purpose. I know I trolled Tennessee. I really did just forget. Tennessee had to win a road game. Remember, I didn't do this. I don't turn the helmets upside down. Other fans of the team. So a Tennessee fan told me to do that. Tennessee fan said, hey, turn our helmet over till we win a road game. I said, okay. Y'all want a road game? I'm turning your helmet back over. Same thing. Clemson's fans the one told me to do that. The whole Arkansas, Auburn, I don't do this. So don't get mad at me about the helmets being upside down. Fans are telling me, I'm a fan of this team, Lou, and I think you should turn our helmet upside down until we do this, this, or this. And I'll think about it, and I'll say, okay, that sounds fair. So we still got 3 helmets now that are left upside down. Colorado, Clemson, and Arkansas. Feel free to comment down below if you want me to turn your team's helmet upside down and the reason why and what they have to do to get it turned back the right way. And when I do my top 10 video tomorrow, maybe I'll turn 1 or 2 helmets upside down if y'all have some good suggestions. All right, and finally, the most popular segment, the most popular news segment on the Your Season Is Over video that we've only been doing this for 3 weeks, the We're Back Top 4. Now, of course, this is a kind of a fan base based award, right? These 4 fan bases run around telling everybody they're back all the time. They do it all off season. We're going to be back this year. We're back. We're coming. We're back. We're winning it all. We're going 100-0. We're back. The season starts. They beat a team with a winning record. I told you, we're back. Like when Miami beat Texas A&M, or like when Tennessee beat Florida and Bama last year. And then nothing happens. They shit the bed multiple times, and turns out they're still not back. These rankings change every week, so they're not a cumulative ranking for the year. They're just a weekly ranking. So based on what I saw this past weekend, I've got Notre Dame number 1 in the We're Back rankings. They absolutely obliterated a bad Pitt team. I've got Texas at 2. They struggled a little bit early. A backup quarterback, Malik Murphy, shaky. Interception in the first quarter. They pulled away. They beat BYU 35-6, I think, or something like that. Tennessee, 3rd place this week in the We're Back rankings. They struggled against a bad Kentucky team, but it was a road win, and those are hard to come by for the Hill Jackson of Altards. They beat Tennessee by 6 points, 33-27, or whatever it was. They're in 3rd this week in the We're Back rankings. Number 4, the Miami Ducks, the Miami Hurricanes, the Miami Ducks should have lost. Yeah, boy, they overtime to that same bad Virginia team that beat North Carolina the week before. Virginia took Miami to overtime. Virginia got the ball first. They go down, they kick a field goal. Miami, to their credit, gets the ball. They score a touchdown right away. Huge home win for the Miami Ducks over a terrible Virginia Cavaliers team. Also, it's time to stop lumping Virginia and Virginia Tech together, by the way. Virginia Tech is a decent team this year. They're not good. They're not great. But they're not trash can gutter level bad like we've been treating them. They're a decent team. In fact, I think they're 4-4 now. And I think they only have one ACC loss. The ACC, remember back in the first month of the season when people kept telling us the ACC was the best conference in the country? What a lie that was. The ACC is garbage. Anyway, that's the top 4 We're Back teams for this week. Number 1, Notre Dame. Number 2, Texas. Number 3, Tennessee. Number 4, Miami. I mentioned that I thought about adding a 5th contestant to the We're Back rankings last week. I mentioned it during a live stream yesterday, and people just lost their mind. They got really, really mad. So I've decided not to include that 5th contestant in our weekly We're Back rankings. But here's what I am going to do. I am going to declare this contestant the reigning We're Back champion. It's Jesus. Jesus has been about to come back for 2,000 years, according to his fans, right? We have to hear from Notre Dame fans and Miami fans and Texas fans and Tennessee fans about how they're coming there. Oh, we're back. This is the year. We're back. This is the year. And in some of these cases, it's been going on 10, 15, 20, 25 years. We're just getting tired of it. Notre Dame's case, 35 years. Notre Dame's been pretending to be back for 35 years. Tennessee's been pretending to be back for 25 years. Texas been pretending to be back since 2005, whenever that, 18 years. And who's the other one? Miami, they've been pretending to be back since 2001, 22 years. So all of those teams are between like 15 and 30 years. They've been telling us they're back. And while that's a long time, it pales in comparison to the Jesus fans with the whole we're back thing that they've got going on. You know, Jesus is coming back soon. Jesus is coming back tomorrow. Get your house in order, blah, blah, blah. They have been telling us that Jesus is coming back soon, like literally since the day after they looked in that cave and he wasn't in there. So Jesus is the reigning, we're back champion of the universe. And I don't think anybody will top his streak, which right now is at about 2,000 and something years. Anyway, type down below, #CamSalou, and have a good morning.